One.
Oh,
Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome to the Muslim Career Guide with your host, Aliyah Qayyum. Today I'm joined with Brother Saleh. Jazakallah so much for joining me today.
thank you. I'm so happy to be here and I'm ready for this. And yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so do you want to give me a brief introduction for those of the viewers who are more curious about you, want to know more about you?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Saleh. I go by Zal on Facebook. I'm also the Vision Ninja. I love vision boards. As you can see, my vision board right there. And so that's what I'm more known for. I love just jumping into different projects that deal with vision. Don't mind my hat. It was a last minute to mess around with Elia. Uh,
You got me though.
but I love habits, habits creation. I love vision boards, and being able to take both of these things and ultimately take your life to a whole different level.
Yeah, that's awesome. And before we do get into the questions, I like to do like icebreakers with my guests. So just rapid fire, like super simple questions and your most
Yeah, let's
recent
do it.
answer. So, what is your favorite emoji?
Oh, the excited one, the one where it's like
Yeah,
like that face where it's
that
shocked
one.
and excited at the same time.
Exactly. Favorite snack?
Favorite snack? Oh shoot! There's this new thing that I've been eating. It's called Tarzan. Tarzan. It's from Yemen, but they began to bring it here, and I was so excited. So I've been eating that a lot.
Oh wow, that's cool. What is your recent purchase? Most recent purchase?
Oh, this is my recent purchase.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's a phone. It was a phone. It was a gift. So I don't know if it qualifies as a recent purchase,
Yeah, sure.
but
No, that's so cool. Just like, getting a new phone is always like super exciting. But what is your favorite book?
oh, of course, I have it right next to me. Atomic Habits.
Ooh, okay. I've heard a lot of good things about that. I need to read
Whoa,
that.
you
But
haven't read Atomic Habits?
no, I have not. I've read The Power of Habits, but not The Atomic Habits yet.
Guess what? The 21-day challenge you're doing right now is from the Atomic Habits.
That is true. Yeah, I've heard that that was definitely like
It's
inspired
a
by.
beautiful
But and yeah. And then the last one is what's one thing that you don't understand?
space.
Yeah, I guess no, not a lot of people understand that one, but so we're gonna jump right into the interview questions. So then my first question is, what is a life coach, and what are some of the responsibilities that you would have as a life coach?
Ooh, a life coach. Obviously, a life coach starts with being passionate about people. That's where it starts. And so a life coach is someone who goes out on a mission to help people with their self-development, whether it's them trying to figure out their life or figure out their vision or figure out to go next with their career. So a life coach is someone as a guide for people.
Mm,
And some of those responsibilities, the big responsibility is being able to give people results, right? If you're not giving people results, then it's like, you're not much of a coach. But it's someone who's able to guide people and give them results and give and show them how powerful they are as individuals, right? A coach is not going to give you all the answers. A coach might ask you the right questions so you yourself can find the right answers. And that's more of an empowering process.
that's actually really interesting how you mentioned like it's you don't tell them like I think maybe like if you're in a environment like you need to be in therapy or something. Generally speaking, like you are more given the answers, while a life coach, and I understand that they're completely different, but as a life coach you guide them with questions for them to make their own self discoveries.
Exactly. It's more empowering, right? At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like I can give you the answer and maybe you wouldn't connect with it. But if I ask you a question where you figure out the answer yourself, whoa, no, that's like more empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you to your own next level because it makes you realize, oh, wow, I can actually figure things out, right? It
Mm-hmm.
gives you realizations and that's way more powerful.
Exactly. Yeah. And what made you decide you wanted to become a life coach? Like, was there a moment that you were like, I want to do this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So when I was in college, I used to get involved in a lot of student organizations, right? And I just really love jumping and helping people, and I majored in accounting. And so by the time I was done with college, I said, why did I take accounting? Like, I love people. Like, what am I doing? And so I realized that every time I was able to make a difference in another human life, my energy was just skyrocketed. Like, I was
Mhm.
full of energy. That's what I was feeding from. And so it made me realize this is it. This is what I should be focusing on. And so that's why I'm very active in social media and doing a bunch of things. Is because I really want to make an impact. And if it happens for one person, amazing. Like, I don't keep track. I just
Right.
throw. Just throw.
Yeah, hoping it just hits one person, but you're right. Like even if it makes a difference for one person, that one person had their life changed because of you, and that's like a huge
Yeah.
impact.
I mean, I had that one person for me in college where I wasn't in a good situation, and that person literally said, "I am not going to rest until I find you a job." And like, who
Mhm.
does that? This person went out of their way to find me a job right after
Yeah.
college. And I can't forget the generosity of that person. Like, with every conversation where with people asking me how I got started after college, I'm always mentioning this person. And here I am mentioning this person again, right? So
Mhm.
you just never know how one person can impact your life.
No, yeah, that's awesome. And what were the first steps that you took to build your brand? Because you are very active on social media. You've got like a series of whiz drops, like every day, making videos of just like pretty much dropping some wisdom. So, like, how did you build up a brand and come up with content for that brand?
Oh, so I think where it starts is I don't want people to really obsess that they have to figure it out right then and there.
Mhm.
If something comes up for you, beautiful. But if it doesn't, don't get mad at yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself. If you just know what you generally are interested in, let's say self-development, but self-development is so wide. Like, where do we go? So what I
Mhm.
would tell people is just dive into it. Just start producing things like from different, get different niches, right? Because you're trying to zero in. But if you get so obsessed with that, you'll start beating yourself up because you can't figure it out. But when you touch your hands in different things, over time, you will realize what you're really interested in, right? You will, if you continuously ask yourself the question, all right, what am I doing now and why am I doing it? And so that was kind of the question in the back of my head. What am I doing and why am I doing it? Until, when I started doing vision boards, and it actually came by chance, right? And it came by chance. Why? Because I was just diving into everything, right? I wouldn't have discovered it, for myself. I wouldn't have discovered that I have a passion for it unless I dived into a number of things. And so
Mhm.
you're touching different things, and then, whenever you touch something and it gives you that boom, that alert in your mind, that's when you jump right into it, right? That's when, like, all right, I'm interested in this and I really like it. And you know what? Because I've touched so many different things, now let me zero in, right? So it's
Right.
it's really a matter of you touching different things, and boom, when something really resonate with you, that's when you put your resources into it, um,
Right.
and move forward.
Because if you zero in on just one thing right away, then it's like you're going to have the
Mm.
issue of like not trying something that you might like better than the thing that you're focusing on so much.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost time, not really time wasted, but almost like time wasted because it's like you could have avoided just zeroing in on something that you might have not even been interested in, instead like learned along the process of learning just so many different things at once.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I didn't start with, Vision Ninja. The original name was Vision Board Ninja because I was interested in vision boards. And then
Mhm.
a friend of mine said, but you're a little bit more than that. Why don't you like kind of like take out the board out of this, because you touch habits, you touch, different things. And so she said, why don't you just put it Vision Ninja? And I'm like, I didn't like the name at first, but then I'm like, you're right. Like, I don't want to limit myself because it's going to help me touch different things. And, you will change, you will grow, and it'll change your brand a little bit. But,
Mhm.
once you kind of touch that main thing, and I'm changing, right? Like, I don't know where I'm going to be next year.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like if you keep an open mind that you're going to be changing, like then you're just setting yourself up for success pretty much. But
Exactly.
how did you set like how did you what sort of training do you need to become a life coach? Like, do you need to go to school for that? Are there certain certifications that you need to have? Like, what makes you a life coach in terms of like, a degree or something, I guess?
Yeah, so obviously the biggest first thing is you have to want to do it, right? It's not for
Right.
everybody. You have to want to do it. You have to have that drive of wanting to help people. And some people do this for a hobby and some people want to go to the next level. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of schools out there that, that specialize with you getting a certain degree. And the reason I say that is because there's different types of life coaching, right? They follow different methods. So it's almost like you're following a system, right? So it's a matter of you following a particular system of coaching. So there is the route where you can actually get certified through a particular program, right? There's a particular program, I didn't do it, but it's called IPEC. That's kind of like the letters for it, and
Mhm.
it's a very popular coaching program. Or you can, every popular motivational speaker out there will have a certification program, like Tony Robbins or whatever,
Oh
right?
wow.
So there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of wide ways for you to get a certificate. But at the end of the day, do people really care about that? Yes and no, right? It's not this whole arena of development is not like your traditional route, which is college, and you get a
Right.
degree from college, and you go to apply for a job. So it's not really like that. This whole arena, it's a plus to have some sort of certificate, but the main thing that people care about is you producing results for people, right? You might start with one person, and that person might give you a really cool testimonial. So it's more of like a referral type of environment where
Right.
people like might not really care about your certification, but they really want to see your track record of, is this person active? Is this person producing results? Um, it's good to follow a program, though, I would say. Not necessarily you having a certification, but you following a particular program that can give you the fundamentals of, being able to coach someone and able to react in certain situations, right? Because you might love helping people, but say if you start coaching someone and they have this unique situation, and you're like, oh my God, I wasn't trained on that particular situation. So what do I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So, you need that type of guidance from certain programs, which is, it's good to follow one program and see if you're interested in it and their techniques. So knowing different techniques is very, very helpful.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, like, it's like some people might not even care about like certifications or whatever, like as long as like if you compare someone who has more testimonials and more like
Right.
results that they've gotten, you probably will trust the person that has results, not necessarily the
Exactly.
one that might have certification. So it's an interesting thing. Like you can go both ways with having a certification or not. Like it's definitely like whatever you choose.
Yeah, and if you have both certifications and good testimonials, then you're good to go. So
Exactly. You're set. Anyways, what are some common questions or concerns people generally have, like your clients generally have when they come to you?
some general questions would be, a lot of them is, I don't know what I want to be, right? That's a big general
Yeah.
question. I don't know where I should be. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what I like, or I don't know
Mhm.
what my habits should be. That those are like really, really big questions. Or I don't know why I feel this way about, certain topics. Um, and so like those are really, really top questions that we get all the time. I don't know how to figure this out. And when you dig deep, you find out that they're trying to concentrate on a billion things at the same time. And when you do that, of course, you won't be able to know what you want and where you want to go, which direction, right? It's like
Mhm.
me giving you a science exam, a math exam, and a history exam, and an English exam at the same time. And I'm like, do them right now.
God, my worst nightmare.
Exactly. So that wouldn't work out so well. And
Mhm.
so that's the problem. People look at everything at the same time. And instead of saying, okay, why don't we focus on the English exam first? And then even going smaller, right? Why don't we focus on page one? Even going smaller, why don't we focus on question one? Like you take something huge and then you bring it down, 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 down until you just focus on one single thing and your brain will find relief out of that.
Mhm.
Because we are not meant to look at so many things at once. We are not meant for that. We are meant to concentrate on one thing at a time. That's
Yeah.
just how we operate.
Yeah, even like the 21-day habit challenge, it's like we're choosing just one habit to focus on, and you would think like, why? Like I can do so much in this program,
Mm,
but really at the end of the day, you're not going to keep up with all of them. And that's like also one of the interesting things that I found out recently, where it's like multitasking isn't a thing. It's because you can't put 100% of your focus into two
exactly.
different things. It's like one thing that.
Exactly. I mean, that
Mhm.
skill of multitasking is praised in certain job, right? In certain
Right.
atmospheres. And I'm like, that is so wrong. Like,
Hmm.
like I've used this before myself, if I'm being honest, where I'm like, yeah, I can
Yeah.
multitask, but I didn't even know what that really meant. I just knew that everybody used it,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't help out. It's kind of like what you said. You can multitask, but you won't put your 100%. And
Hmm.
that's when you get in trouble.
Exactly. Exactly. And has there ever been a time where someone asked you something and you just didn't know?
Oh yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. But um when you get just like this question, no, just kidding.
Well, interesting.
Irony, right? No, no. When someone asks you a question or give you a scenario where you're just like, shoot,
Mhm.
the best, I think what gave me peace of mind is I don't have to know all the answers. That's what gave me a lot of like a big, big, big chunk of peace of mind. I don't have to know all the answers. But what I could do at that particular moment is ask a question, right? Because maybe it wasn't clear to me. Maybe the topic is too big and we need to dismantle it. So asking a follow-up question about a particular situation that you might not necessarily know really, really helps diffuse the situation, right?
Yeah.
And depending on the setting, if you really don't know, you also have to be honest as well, right? You have to be honest with the individual. I don't know too much about this, but you know what? I really know who knows about this, and I'll connect you with them, or I'll get the answer for you, right? Is showing them instead of really giving them an answer that doesn't really make sense to them and they know you're lying. That's worse.
Yeah.
If someone is
Yeah.
going to an interview and they get asked a question and they don't know the answer, but they say they just take a random answer, the interviewer know exactly what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're gonna make yourself look bad. So the
Mhm.
best thing to do in those type of settings is to say, I don't know the answer,
Mhm.
but I can research this and give you an answer. That's if it's like you're interviewing for a job, I would say.
Yeah.
That has
Yeah.
happened to me before as well. But in a coaching setting, I think it's best to really ask a question. And then you can say, if you still don't really know, then you can say, I'll get back to you on that. But, for us coaches, we like to explore a situation we don't know anything about because the
Mhm.
other person is asking that question. They know a lot more than us sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of like reverse it back, see what else they know. And then, because you're trying to help them, you're not trying to just figure out the answer.
Mhm, exactly. No, I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, like, with the interview, it's like, when they see that you're trying to make something up, and even just as a life coach too, like, when people see that you're making something up, they trust you less because it's like you're not being honest and you're not being like, "Oh," and when you come to acceptance, people see that like, "Oh, you're accepting that you're not perfect, and so I can be
Yeah,
myself around you." And so that especially is super important with a coach and a life coach, like, you want people to be themselves around you.
exactly. Yeah,
Mhm,
and that obviously starts in the beginning of you creating that safe space.
exactly. Yeah, it's so important to create a safe space for everyone. But you, like I said, mentioned earlier, you are very active on many social medias. You've got like a 365-day like series going on right now on your Facebook and everything like that. Like, how do you keep up with all of your social medias alongside your jobs that you have too?
Yeah, that project really is it gets me very nervous, right? Because you're putting the commitment out there and you're like, this
Yeah.
is gonna happen. And then I don't plan for the topics ahead of time. I basically see what inspired me through the day and I make it based on that because I wanted to feel more authentic. But there's certain days where you're like, I didn't learn anything today, you know? So
Yeah.
you have to go to plan B, which is to like read a book or something. So like when I don't have a topic, I start reading. I'm like, I want to get inspired. And so that's the intention. But for everything else, and being very active in social media again is not for everyone. And I know sometimes it's seen as a waste of time, but for me, I don't see it as a waste of time because I'm surrounding myself with the right people and I'm looking at positive content and I'm producing positive content, right? It's those times where you're just really scrolling and that's where the real waste time is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoever visits, I want to create a home in my social media for people. So when they do come to my home, they don't feel like they wasted their time. And so that's one of my biggest drivers, right? Um, and how do I keep the balances on that? I have a rule for myself, right? It might seem like I'm always active there, but I do have segments. Like in the morning, I would do my morning routine and I wouldn't touch my phone until I'm done with my morning routine. And then I'm like, all right, let me take 15 minutes to see what everybody's up to. And I would comment on certain people, really just give that support or be inspired, right? And I might post, let's say, one thing. And then in the afternoon, I might do the same. And then at night, that's when I'm off my regular day job, so I can do whatever I want. And that's when I
Mhm.
get really, really active with, limited time. And so I think what makes me look very active is the consistency, right? Morning, afternoon, night, like, 20 minutes, 2 hours, or 1 hour. So it's the fact that I'm being consistent with my posting. That's one, right? Because especially with the quotes, right? I did the quotes and the whiz drop. That's kind of like the most consistent thing that I'm doing. Um, and so when people, see that, like, oh my God, he's active. But it's really just more of consistency,
Mhm.
right? One person might just post a bunch of things once a month, and then they're like, you won't see
Yeah.
them for the next 1 month, and you won't, they won't be, you won't think they're active, right? But someone who can be consistent every day, even if it's one post, the algorithm will pick that up. And if you like my posts, then the algorithm will always show you my stuff, right? Whether I
Yeah.
post once a day or twice a day. But especially with the whiz drops, um, I make one video and I throw it into many platforms. And so sometimes you don't have to create a lot of things. You can create 1 to 3 pieces of items and then just throw them into everything, because you have
Mhm.
different audiences or different visitors.
Exactly. And like consistency is like probably one of the most like the biggest piece of advice I've heard when it comes to social media, because you're right, it's
Mhm.
just if someone knows that they can come back to your content and find something new at this certain time, they're going to come back. But if you're just posting at random times, like once a month or something, they're not going to come back. And it's like they
Exactly.
you want them to come back because like you said, you want to help benefit people from the social media that's already so like toxic sometimes, and you're bringing a
Yeah.
place where they benefit from it. So like if they come back consistently, you're benefiting from it, yes, but so are they, and that's awesome, honestly awesome.
And also posting without the obsession of, oh my God, did I get comments? Did I get likes?
Mhm.
In my YouTube channel, I literally have 4 subscribers. Four. 4 subscribers. That is it. And they're probably family members. But that's not what I care about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just gonna post. I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post. I'm gonna post. Because you never know what that's going to do down the line. There's
Mm-hmm.
this quote, if I hope I can remember it correctly, but the quote goes, it's better to it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And I hope that quote makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, because what it's saying is, even if you don't have an opportunity, keep building yourself, keep growing yourself, because once the opportunity does come, you'll be so
You're
ready
ready.
for it,
Yeah.
versus the opportunity showing up and you're like, oh, I'm not ready. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing it for impact and future opportunities.
Yeah, and like the opportunity could just show up from nowhere, and if you're not prepared, then you can lose that opportunity. So it's like once you're prepared, and probably it's probably a good thing. Like when you have a smaller subscriber count, maybe at the moment, like that gives you time to like prepare for what like is to come and to
Hmm.
test things out. And so there's just like good things that come with having a smaller audience times too, and at
Yeah, it's
least
like,
usually in the beginning too.
exactly. It's like, test your ground. If you really care
Mhm.
about subscribers right now, it's a problem. But if you care about growth and value, that you're gonna grow. You won't have the resistance. You won't have that defeating feeling. You're just putting it out there that you want to help and you want to better yourself at the same time. And that's when the magic really happens. And
It does, yeah.
yeah.
And what are some of the key traits that you think every life coach should have if they want to become a life coach?
Oh man, they have to want to work with people. They have to have that love and drive and that energy for people. That's like a big one. Like,
Mhm.
if they don't have that, if they have no patience for people, then look for something else. That's
Mhm,
one.
yeah.
Definitely have patience, right? Have patience. Um, Having the skill of being authentic. Believe me, that is a skill. Some people are like,
Yeah.
no, but I'm authentic. No, you're surrounded by so much that have created a person that you think that's who you are, right? So
Mhm.
being able to be authentic, right? Because when you talk to someone, they will realize whether you're trying to sell something to them or you're trying to help them. And so when they realize that you're authentic, that's when they gravitate towards you.
Mhm.
So being able to have that skill of being authentic, right? Because at the end of the day, you need clients for you to grow, right? And it's a journey. And people are tired of being pitched to. They don't want that anymore. It's all over the place. They are bombarded with that.
Yeah.
And people only do business with people they trust. And so that comes with you knowing how to be authentic and creating sales with that, being a salesperson authentically, not someone who's just hungry for money. Um, and another one is to be a good listener, right? Because being a life coach is not about you talking the whole time, but you being because like, at the end of the day, it's about that person is about helping that person get the discovery they're looking for. Another trait is to have really good energy, being compassionate and having good energy that would make people feel comfortable, right? Don't be creepy.
Yeah. That would be bad.
Oh, what's wrong? No. Um, and really just having the heart for it. There's a lot I can say in terms of traits, but those were
Mhm.
the ones that came for people to trust you. They want to know you've went through things too, right? You're not perfect, but you've went through, whether it's hardships or you being vulnerable yourself. So it's like a mixture of all of those.
Yeah, that's really good. Like, they all make sense, but some of them you might not even think. Like, being a good listener is so important. You gotta listen to what people need. But if you're like cutting over people and being like, "Oh, I have the solution for you,"
Yeah,
it's like that's not my whole problem. So like you gotta listen. So that's really important.
yeah, because some people, they get so excited because they want to help.
Hmm.
But I think if you really want to help, you got to listen first
Yeah.
and take permission, really take permission from the person. If you have something to suggest, it's not just you kind of like throw it at them, but may I share something that can work, And that gives people like it's an invitation rather than me like you
Mm.
know.
Yeah, they don't feel pressured to do so. Yeah, and the last question I ask all my guests is if anyone wanted to become a life coach, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them?
I would say one of the big things is you looking into your heart and soul and to feel authentically that you really want this.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is that going to create? It's going to create your why. When you ask that question, you're going to be very honest with yourself. That's like, you
Mm-hmm.
got to be very, very, very honest with yourself. Why are you doing this? And if you find out that it was because somebody told you to, then that's a problem because you're going to get to a certain level and then you're not going to have the drive for it anymore because it's
Mm-hmm.
not part of you. And people can see through that and you can see through that. And guess what? Every day you're going to be in pain because your brain and your soul is going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you're going through this path, you're driving through this alley.
Yeah.
You know we don't want to do this. You know we don't want to do this. Why are we here? That's the constant voice you're going to hear every single day if you're not being authentic with yourself. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? You suck. You know, and you're going to
Yeah.
end up
Yeah.
just hating yourself for doing this. Like, oh, like I tried and it's not working. No, it's the inner voice because it's telling you that that's not where we belong. Yet you're still going there. This is why when people
Mm-hmm.
get jobs and they hate their jobs, and it's because there's a voice in there saying, hey, we hate this. You're typing. I hate it. I hate this job. Why is he talking to us? I hate this.
So true.
So
Yeah, like having a passion is so important because you're gonna get bored quickly and
yeah,
you're not gonna be happy. Like you think you will be, in like for whatever reason you're forcing yourself to do something, it's gonna end up like not going the way you want to go.
exactly. And I would say, like, what is a follow up with that is once you tell yourself the truth and you're like, all right, this is for me, the next thing to do is to really surround yourself with the people who already have that success because
Mm-hmm.
your environment is so important. If you're surrounded by lazy people, your brain is going to be like, oh, I guess this is our environment. I guess I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
take a
acceptable.
nap for the next
Mm-hmm.
10 hours, right? So,
Yeah.
but when you're surrounded by people that want to do the work and you
Mm-hmm.
would have to invest in yourself, right? This is why I'm so grateful that you guys have this program, the SunnahCamp programs, and they're so diverse and amazing. It's preparing you for it's giving you that environment of young people who really want to make a change. And so when you see that
Yeah.
all of that around you, you don't want to be the bum who doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Exactly. No, exactly. It's like when you put yourself in that certain environment, you're gonna be motivated because we don't like to accept it or like understand that, but we are heavily influenced by the people around us. So when
Yeah,
you surround yourself with those types of people, you're going to be influenced.
yeah. It really
Mhm.
helps. And you're gonna grow each other too. So
Yeah, exactly.
you're
Yeah.
gonna
So Jazakallah so much for Brother Saleh for joining me. Where can everyone find you? Whether social medias, where can everyone maybe want to be a client? Where can they find you pretty much?
right, zal.ye, or they can on Instagram, Saleh underscore 426. So that's SALEH underscore 426. Or they can come to my Vision Ninja Instagram, which is Vision Board Ninja. If they search Vision Board Ninja, I'm there too. So, or you can just,
Mhm.
she's gonna tag me, so just click on my name and send me a message.
I will.
And honestly, like this is for anyone that wants help or wants to get clarity or whatever it is. Like, we gotta help each other grow, right? So
Mhm.
yes. And this is
Exactly.
not my
Yeah.
real hair, by the way. This is just a hat.
It looked very much like your real hair. Even though I know it just still looks like it. It was great. But Jazakallah so much again, Brother Saleh. All the links that he just mentioned will be in the caption along with SunnahCamp's links. And inshallah, we will see you guys all next Thursday. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.